Hey you guys, I thought I was all set to go, and then I realized I grabbed my notes in my identical folder that were completely unrelated to Facebook parties, so I had to scramble and go find those. Hey Kendra, I'm not gonna hang out for too long before jumping in just because there's a lot of information and it's late, and I know that more people will end up watching this on the replay than actually for the live. But for those of you who are on the live, you'll get to hop on, ask questions, interact, and make this a whole lot more fun than it would be with me just talking myself. I left my notes. Hold on. Okay. So, you guys know, Facebook parties are my jam. I love them. I've been doing them, it's kind of crazy now, but I've been doing them almost the entire time I've been a consultant. Hey Kayla, hey Rosemary, welcome on. I wanted to give a little bit of background information for those of you who are newer or don't know me. So I've been a consultant for 5 years now, which is crazy, but this month is my 5-year anniversary. I wasn't sure I was gonna make it past 3 months, to be honest. And when I got started, I didn't know anyone who did Facebook parties. Norwex didn't have any kind of support. They didn't even acknowledge it as a real party. At team meetings, it didn't count. If you did a Facebook party, we would always do recognition and stand up. If you had this much in sales, stand up if you did this many parties. And the leaders would always say, but that's home parties, you know. Well, they didn't say it at the beginning because nobody actually did it. But a few months in, they started saying, you know, that's home parties because they're the only ones that count. So there was really no support, no understanding, no idea, no network, no nothing when it came to Facebook parties. And, you know, I got started thinking, okay, this is gonna have to be a home party business. I don't know if I can make any part of it work, but I don't know any differently, so yeah, home parties it is. And very quickly I realized home parties were not going to work very well for me with my health, my husband's schedule, my kids, and I felt like I was really missing out on a big part of my network, which was spread out across the US. So I talked to my upline and I asked her about it, and she was like, it's not worth it. There's no support. Nobody's done it and been successful. Don't even bother. Home parties are where it's at. And I was like, well, that's great if home parties can work, but if I have the choice between doing a Facebook party or not being able to do this business at all, like, I kind of needed to try a Facebook party and see what it would be like. That's okay, Missy. Come back, get some sleep, come back, and check the replay, and you're good. So I decided I would sit down and write out what I would like to say in my party as if I was talking to a friend. And we're sitting in a coffee shop, and they asked me, okay, Melanie, what is the deal with Norwex? What do you like about it? What's the whole story here? And if I could just sit down and talk to them, what would I say? And so I pulled up a Microsoft document, sat down, and wrote it out. You know, what makes sense to me? Why do I like Norwex? What are the products I'm excited about? And it was a good start, but let me tell you, it was a pretty terrible party. And I'm embarrassed to say how many months it took me before I was starting to get parties up to the bare minimum, which back then it was 325 was the first hostess level. And it took me a long time. But shortly after I signed up to be a consultant, figuring, you know, I'm gonna give this 3 months, I'm gonna earn my kit for free, and then we'll see, because I don't know that this is actually for me. I don't know that I can actually do this. So shortly before I hit that 3-month mark, my husband's job downsized and he was let go. So suddenly it went from, we'll see, hey Ashley, hey Anita, we'll see if this works, to, okay, what do I need to do to figure this out and make it be successful? And that really gave me a push when I was having dud party after dud party and wondering, is this ever going to be worth my time to say, okay, that party was not awesome, but what can I learn from it? What did I not do well? What did I kind of think maybe went okay? And what do I need to tweak for the next time? And I don't know, honestly, if I hadn't needed to, I don't know if I would have stuck with it, because I can speak from experience that it's really discouraging when you're trying parties and you feel like a failure. So that pushed me, and I kept working to book more Facebook parties, book another one. And my hostesses, you know, Norwex was new. They didn't know, well, they were new to Norwex. They didn't know what Norwex is, you know, how generous Norwex was. And so oftentimes they were happy with just getting me mailing them a free cloth or two from what I'd gotten from Norwex. And so I felt terrible because they weren't getting the amazing hostess rewards that I was seeing they could earn. But for them, they were still earning a little bit for free. So I continued booking. Well, it's been 5 years, and I just had a repeat party for someone. Her first party with me, she was one of my first hostesses, and we did not make the 325 hostess level. We did get a booking, but it was one of those parties where you feel like you're pulling teeth the whole way. She rebooked with me a couple weeks ago, and we were at $1,000 in sales and 5 bookings off of hers. And I was like, okay, I feel like we've kind of come full circle, and this is validation that just because your first few parties, your first few months of parties can be difficult, doesn't mean that's always going to be the way it is. And the key, I am positive, is determination and a willingness to learn. So that's where I want to talk to you about with Facebook parties. And I will say my Facebook parties are different than a lot of other consultants. I've been doing Facebook parties pre-Facebook Live, which makes me feel like I'm super old here on the Facebook front. Really, I'm not. But before Facebook Live, you know, we didn't have that option. And videos, I felt like, lost people very quickly. And so my parties are primarily post-based, okay? And I'm going to talk about why, and I'm also going to talk about what is best for Facebook's algorithms, because both of those are important. So, first of all, let me say, you got to be you, okay? Videos are not me. Doing this is so, it is so far out of my comfort zone to do videos, and I don't like watching other people's videos. If I'm invited to a party and someone does a video, guaranteed I'm not paying attention. Videos lose me very quickly, and I would far and away rather sit and read than watch somebody else on video. So for me, a post-based party works really, really well, because that's my personality. That's how I learn, that's how I take in information, and that's how I like giving information. But for a lot of people, especially people who are used to home parties, doing a post-based party can be stressful, it can be intimidating, it can be frustrating. And doing a video-based party can be much more natural because you're used to talking through the products, you're used to explaining things out loud, you're used to doing your demos. So if you're coming from home parties and you're really loving your home parties and having fun with that, just adapt that a little bit for your Facebook parties. You don't have to throw out everything you've been doing with your home parties in order to be successful with a Facebook party. So be you. And that doesn't mean don't learn and don't stretch yourself and don't be uncomfortable, but do it within the parameters of being genuine to your personality and your preferences. Because if you are super uncomfortable or super awkward the whole way through, or just feeling like, I don't like this, that's gonna come across. And if I'm doing my Facebook parties as lives, I guarantee you my customers would see I'm so much more uncomfortable doing that, whereas I really love doing my post-based parties. So I'm going to talk about post-based parties, but that is not actually the best when it comes to Facebook algorithms, and I'll talk a little bit about why. Kayla, when you started out with your Facebook parties, were you or someone else the host? Good question. My very first party, I reached out to a handful of friends, and I said, yeah, I'm keeping an eye on my fire over here so it's not burning out while I'm talking. I reached out to a couple friends and I said, I'm doing this completely new thing, and frankly, it's terrifying me. And I'm trying to adapt it for a Facebook party, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Would you be willing to sit in on a party and just check it out and tell me what you think about my flow? Am I making sense? Is it interesting to you? Like, would anyone else possibly be interested in checking out a party of mine? And I think I had 4, maybe 5 friends who sat in on that first party of mine. And you guys, I don't even know how long it was, but it was way long and way slow. And they were amazing, and they chimed in, and they asked questions, and they were encouraging, and they told me what was really terrible about it and what didn't make sense. And that feedback was crucial for me figuring out, okay, I've had a dry run at this, and now I need to change a whole lot of things. So I was the host my first party, and I told my friends when I asked, I was like, don't feel like you have to buy anything. I really just need some friends that I trust who are, good night, Kels, come back later. I really just need some friends who I trust to give me some feedback. And honestly, I'm feeling a little apprehensive, a little vulnerable, and be gentle, please. And so the party itself wasn't fantastic. I think I combined it with my in-home launch party to reach, we were over 325, but not by much. But I got 2 bookings from it. And I actually offered, I think I had a dusting mitt for my starter kit and something else. And I offered those as prizes. You know, I was like, obviously you guys have seen my first party. It is what it is. I'm gonna learn. If any of you are interested in hosting a party, that would be a big help to me, and I would really love it. And I would be glad to send you a dusting mitt or whatever the second thing was that I pulled from my starter kit and offered. So I hosted, and that spawned 2 more parties from that, and both were Facebook parties, and neither did very well, but both of those had another Facebook party. So I would hands down say, host your own. And honestly, host your own as many times as you need to. And even when you have a full calendar, come back and host your own. Actually, in my Facebook memories, I just had a pop-up this week from when I hosted my own party last year and ended up with a few friends who became customers who have repeatedly ordered, and 2 new consultants thanks to that. So host your own to get started and figure out, and then continue occasionally hosting your own, because you haven't reached your whole friend group, and you won't reach your whole friend group for years, I'm telling you. So I hope that answered that question. I want to talk about Facebook Party Flow. I said that, you know, when I was doing my script, I wrote it as if I was sitting in a coffee shop with a friend talking about, why Norwex? What's the deal? What is this all about? And if I could just talk without interruption and explain it all and be comfortable, what would I say? And that actually helped me clarify things in my head, because I felt so overwhelmed. There's so much information. I'm taking so much in. There's just so much to figure out. And then how do I synthesize that in my head, let alone explain it to anybody else? And so writing that out for a Facebook script actually helped me figure that out for myself, which was really helpful then when I'm talking about it to other people in person or on email or wherever. And over the last few years, I've tweaked that Facebook party flow so it makes more sense. Because again, one of the things that I asked my friends for feedback in that very first party I did was, does the flow of information make sense? You know, Norwex is it's an information heavy product, and people need the information in the right order at the right time, or it's not going to make sense. And so my Facebook party flow, I start with, what is the problem? You know, most people, they have no idea that there's even a problem in the first place. What is the problem that Norwex is going to solve for them? So it's setting the stage. You know, people don't realize how toxic chemicals are, harmful chemicals. And I will say, guys, chemicals on their own are not necessarily bad, okay? You know, My brother had leukemia, and he wouldn't be alive without chemo and all of the chemicals that they pumped into his blood, and I'm a firm believer in you use what you need to use. But most people who are cleaning don't realize just how toxic the chemicals they're using are. And most people, they've learned to clean culturally. They've learned to clean by watching grandma, by seeing their neighbor, by commercials on the TV. And very, very few people have actually paid attention to the bottles to read what are the directions, what are the instructions. Like that, I don't know if you guys saw that article about the man in Buffalo who died in the restaurant because an employee had cleaned the floor with one thing, and he came back. Well, somebody else came back to clean the floor later after a period of time with something else, and together those two regular floor cleaners, no big deal, created a poisonous gas that killed the manager. I mean, this is a big deal, and most people have no idea. So that's where I start. Why do people need Norwex? What is the problem? Lay that foundation, because you can't answer a problem nobody knows they have. So, what is the problem? And then I go into some of the background on Norwex, just a little bit. People don't need a whole long history of every single person who's ever been involved with the company and what they've ever done, but, most people don't realize Norwex has been around for 25 years. Norwex has history. Norwex has a history of stability. Norwex, it's a pretty great company. So I do a little bit about the company, and that's my pre-party posts, okay? For me, I set my party up 4 to 5 days before my party time. We have a time where everyone gets online at the same time. My parties are usually about an hour in that time, but I do pre-party posts leading up to that. Usually about 2 a day. I don't like to do more than that. Sometimes I will, depending on participation, but I usually keep it to 2 posts a day. I like to do a morning one around when people are checking their Facebooks, and I like to do an evening or night one around when people are checking their Facebooks again. So, pre-party posts are all about the problem, they're about the company. The party itself, okay, we dive into care and use, because that's really important. Not long after I became a consultant, I invited a friend of mine to a party, and she declined because she already had an Norwex consultant, and she was, wasn't going to purchase anything. And she said, and I'm actually wondering, because I've had these cloths for 9 months and they're just kind of starting to smell. And she said not to wash them ever, but should I wash them a little bit? And I was like, you haven't washed them in 9 months at all, and they're just starting to smell? Yeah, you need to launder them. So you guys, talk care and use. That's important. So we touch on care and use, how the party's gonna run, and then we move into the Safe Haven 5. That is crucial. My first number of parties, my first year, I just talked about the products I love. And that was usually like 20 products. That was a lot. It was too much. It was overwhelming. It stretched my party on forever. But when you love Norwex, you want to tell people everything about Norwex. And that wasn't, that's not going to work for long. That's not practical. So, Safe Haven 5, 2, maybe 3 other products. Okay? That's it. It shouldn't be, this is not your only time to talk to your customers about every product. That's part of what customer care and follow-up and relationship building is for after. You're doing the bare bones basics. Safe Haven 5 is where every person needs to start. It's the best deal. It covers the most ground in their house, literally. And it's just a phenomenal starter package and very concise for you to talk about. So I do the Safe Haven 5. I do the mop. And then I alternate 2 other products that I like. And that's my party. I talk about booking, I talk about hosting. We have some prizes, we wrap up, and I'm done. My party is an hour. You're gonna talk to people who try to do a party in 20 minutes. You're gonna talk to people who have a 2-hour party. I feel like an hour has been a consistent happy medium for me this whole time. I have done longer, and that was way too long. And when you're going much shorter, you're leaving a lot of stuff out. So part of it does depend on how you want to do the party. And that's another thing, guys. I can talk to you about best business practices, like what are the things across the board that this is just really good to keep in mind. But Facebook parties have a lot of room for creativity. You can bring your personality, you can bring your preferences, you can bring your experiences, you can bring you to your party. And that goes for, groups or events, week-long things or one-night parties. That goes for parties with multiple hostesses or parties with one. There is no wrong answer here. You just have to learn how to do what you want to do well. And you're set. So there's not a magic bullet that you have to do it this way, this way, this way, and this way, or you're never going to be successful. That's not true. Okay? There may be some experimentation involved. There will be. If you are willing to stick with it, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to do this, you're going to experiment. You have to. Okay? You're going to get great ideas from people. Sometimes they'll work for you, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they won't work for you initially, and you'll step back and say, well, how can I tweak this so that it works for me? And you'll do, and suddenly that idea that was not working for you, that is working so well for you now. A lot of it comes down to intentionality and to not giving up right away. So we're going to talk about some of those best business practices, and I'm going to talk about, how I do things, and then other ways you can do it, because there's a lot of ways you can be successful in having a Facebook business. Or just doing the occasional Facebook party here and there, if that's what you want. But my goal is, I want to equip you to have the level of Facebook parties that you would like to have. As big as that is, as often, as infrequent, but that you feel comfortable and confident in having those parties. And that it's okay to have a dead party. It's okay to walk away from a party feeling like, whoa, that was work tonight. Because most of the time, right, our jobs don't feel like work. But sometimes they're going to. And that's okay, because technically they are. So, Facebook Party Flow. Again, I do mine as posts. Every single post that I do either has a graphic or graphics, or it has a link to a short video. Okay? I do not go live. You can, you don't have to. As far as Facebook's algorithms go, let's touch on that for a minute. Facebook values community, and they value videos that are made using their platform. So they will always prioritize a Facebook Live over a YouTube link. That's just the way it is. They will prioritize a video that you upload directly to Facebook over a YouTube link. Now, you could save videos to your computer and upload them every time to every party, but realistically that's not practical because it takes time to upload, and then not only do you have to wait for it to upload, you also have to wait for Facebook to approve it. So depending on how long it is, 15-second video is okay. A 1-minute video and you're starting to push it. Anything longer than that and you're gonna be waiting way too long to upload, to get approval, for people to see. So, you've got to balance that. Facebook Lives, if you are able to do a party where you do pre-party posts and then you go live for a demo or two, or just to talk, give an overview of the Safe Haven 5 and answer questions, that's awesome. That interaction is so good. And Facebook wants to reward that. They want to bump that. They want people to see that. They want to show it in people's news feeds. So that's going to be a natural boost for your business right there. However, some of us, we're not natural video people, or we have kids up, or we don't have a quiet time in the house earlier in the evening, and live videos, they just don't work as well. So yes, it's better in terms of Facebook's algorithms, but it's not the end all and be all if you can't. And I have built my entire business on Facebook parties based through posts, not lives. So it is definitely possible. Again, do what you feel comfortable with. And you can go into something feeling a little uncomfortable and learn to get comfortable. But if something is really just chafing at you or making you so uncomfortable or stressed or then that's okay. Don't force it. There's a lot of ways you can do this and be successful, and you can have fun with it. So I want to talk a little bit about, that's algorithms. Actually, before I move on from that, let me add to this and say, I mentioned Facebook prioritizes community. That includes you and Facebook checking out and seeing how much are you adding value to the groups you're in, or on your Facebook wall, or to your friends. And if you are not adding value, if you're just always scrolling, and not engaging, Facebook's gonna diminish the visibility of your profile, period, across the board. Personally, professionally, it does not matter. So the more you're just scrolling Facebook, the more you're actually damaging your business, because you're decreasing your visibility. And it's only marginally better if you're scrolling Facebook and reacting to posts. So if you're liking posts, or laughing at them, or loving them, or any of that, that's only a little bit better than not reacting at all. What Facebook is really looking for is people who are commenting. Are you commenting on the videos you're watching? Are you commenting on people's wall posts? Are you interacting with people who are talking on your wall? Any of those things. Are you active in the groups you're part of? The more you add value throughout your Facebook presence, the more Facebook will increase the visibility in your parties. So if you avoid Facebook as much as you can, if you don't have a Facebook presence, if you do a lot of scrolling and not a lot of engaging, then it's time to rethink and be strategic and understand that what you're doing with just that constant scrolling is actually having a negative effect on your business, on people seeing your posts in your VIP group, on people seeing your business page posts, your questions and team pages, any of those things. So take time to be intentional and to comment and to interact. And with that, the more you engage in any group you're in, the more you answer questions, the more you ask questions, the more you post resources, the more you just talk to people, the more value Facebook is going to assign to your Facebook profile. And when you say something, more people are likely to see it. So keep that in mind. And use our team group to interact, because that helps you across the board. Facebook prizes. I want to talk about that. Oops, let's see here. So let me put another log on the fire quickly, because it's going out. All right. Facebook prizes. And ask questions as we go, because it's a lot easier for me to answer as we go than to come back through and answer questions on videos, because video comments get lost really easily. So, prizes. I do 4 key prizes throughout my parties, and I have very specific reasons for each of them. Pull this a little closer. First one being my participation prize. I have found again and again and again, if people come to my party and check it out and actively engage with it, they're going to order, or they're going to book a party. People don't hear about Norwex, don't check Norwex out, and walk away from it without being changed or interested in some way. So, especially with Facebook parties, the key is getting people to read. It's getting people to interact. It's getting people to check out the information. Because when they do, it will make a difference for them, which makes a difference for my host's party. The participation prize, I love this. I think it's genius. You know, the kill two birds with one stone idea. Every single post, technically, is a participation prize chance. The more someone's engaging and participating, the higher their likelihood of winning a free cloth. And for me, I do a kitchen cloth. It's there, the winner's choice of color in whatever is available. And I love the kitchen cloth because it's not a mainstay product. It's not like the EnviroCloth or the dusting mitt or the window cloth, which I would never, ever, ever give away beyond in the very beginning when I was trying to get bookings, and that was my free stuff. But you don't want to give things away that are in the Safe Haven 5. Those are the things you want to encourage people to purchase. I like that the kitchen cloth, it's smaller, it's less expensive, but it is still a good example of how Norwex's microfiber works. It's a gateway microfiber cloth. So I love using that. People love getting to choose the colors, and we don't have any product with more colors than our kitchen cloth line. So it's just a good, fun balance of cost, fun colors, intelligent introduction to our Norwex line, and all of that. Now, I don't tell people how I rank points, because I learned in my first couple of parties that then people will go back through and tally every single point themselves, and that's just not fun. So now I just say it's a participation prize. I'm very generic about it, about how I do it. Most of the time, by the time the party has finished, I know who participated the most. But if there's any question, if, you know, two people were neck and neck, they were liking everything, they were commenting on everything, they were posting their own posts, then I will actually go back through and physically tally up the points. That doesn't happen often. Like I said, most of the time, by the time a party is done, you have a pretty good idea of who was interacting the most. So if I am tallying points, it's pretty simple. Guests get, I don't bother with someone that they haven't engaged much. They're an automatic, I'm not even going to pay attention to their name. I mark the people that are really close to where I'm not sure. So they get 1 point if they liked a post of mine. They get 2 points if they commented on a post of mine. Only for the first comment per person. So if I do a post about the EnviroCloth and 5 people comment, all 5 of those people would get 2 points. But if one of those people comments 5 times, they're only going to get counted for their first comment. So likes get 1, comments get 2, and then if someone creates their own post in the group, they get 3 points. Again, most of the time I don't have to tally, but I think it's important to have a system and understand how you're going to do it, how you assign points, how you value that, just in case and for the times when you do need to. I do say from the very beginning that my prize cloth winner will not be the same one to win my drawing prize. I mean, my participation prize winner will not be the same as the drawing prize winner, and I'll talk about the drawing prize in a minute. For the participation prize, I do not tally up points until the day after the party, because what I really want to do is I want to draw in the people who couldn't be on the party at all during the party time. Often, you know, a hostess will invite different people, and people will be interested and excited, or feel obligated, depending on how the host did it. And then maybe somebody will say, I really want to go, but I have Bible study tonight, so I can't. I'll check it out later. And what happens later? Later comes about, and they're like, I don't really feel like I missed anything by not being there, and I think she had a fine party, so she really doesn't need me to check it out. I'm not even going to bother. And that is not what I want to happen. So the participation prize, actually more often than not, someone who didn't attend the party is the one who wins it, because they intentionally come back through after the party is over and read through every single post and comment and engage because they want to win that free cloth. So that's a really great tool to get people to check out your party when they weren't on during the party time. Otherwise, you're going to lose a good number of those people. So that's the participation prize. Next prize is the drawing prize. Speaking of bedtime, guys, this is kind of, it's not the opposite of the participation prize, but it kind of is. Because instead of wanting to draw people in who weren't on during the time, this one is all about thanking the people and acknowledging the people who were on during the time. You know, it took time out of their day. It took them finagling kid schedules. It took them juggling things around. It took them intentionally sitting down to get on this party and read through all these posts about cleaning products. And who wants to do that? Come on. Well, this is my way. I do a couple things with this post. Towards the very end of my party, I do the drawing prize. And I say, okay guys, starting now, you have 15 minutes. Okay, this is a limited time drawing prize. You have 15 minutes and you need to answer and tell me 3 things you've learned from 3 different parties. From 3 different posts tonight. And you can get a bonus entry if you ask me a question about my job. Product questions do not count. So my purpose in doing this, yes, I want to give back to my people who are on during the time. That's why it's limited time only. But I really want to know what they're taking in from what I've said. Okay? It's a lot of information. And I call these CCQs, concept checking questions. I want to know what they're taking out of what I've said. So if someone says, you know, one of the things they've learned was, oh my goodness, Norwex's cloths kill germs on contact. I'm like, okay, well, I know they didn't fully understand how our microfiber works and how our backlock works. So that gives me a chance to step in and explain it before that idea settles into their head and they walk away with a misunderstanding of the science of our products. So those CCQs, they get the people going back and looking through. They want to make sure they're pulling information from different posts. It gets people excited about a time limit. It gets people excited about, you know, we're about to find out. We don't have to wait until tomorrow to find out who won. We get to find out now, like tonight. And it helps me make sure that what I'm saying is being accurately understood. And then, of course, that ask me about my job question is a great conversation starter to talk about my job. Imagine that. So the last important thing, well, 2 things I guess with that. I do draw a name after 15 minutes if at least 2 guests have answered the questions. If not, then I close off commenting. Like I'll make a post and say, you know, something about we didn't get 2 guests answering, so I'm closing comments for this one now, but the participation prize and the bonus cloth are still available. And I'll talk about the bonus cloth in a minute. As far as what I give for the drawing prize, whatever I feel like. I don't box myself into something. A lot of times, I do what I feel like. Sometimes I will go back through the party to see what the winner liked, what they commented on. A lot of times I'll give them something that's out of the norm because I want them to try things that they wouldn't normally pick because I know we have good products. So the next prize is the bonus cloth, and that is for the first person to order the Safe Haven 5 package. It creates a sense of urgency and excitement and the clear statement that there's going to be more than one person who orders the Safe Haven 5 package. So you might as well be the first person so you don't lose out. And I like that. It usually means that I get a Safe Haven 5 order that night. And it gives me a chance to get another product in someone's hand. Again, I don't box myself in for what I'm going to give, but a lot of times I will give the dishcloth set. Because I think that's just a good basic cloth to start with and to complement. Also guys, I think I just realized that instead of taking my allergy med like I meant to, which is a white one, I took a Benadryl instead just before getting on. So there's that. We're lucky I'm still awake because they knocked me out. Last prize. I offer a prize if a guest invites a friend of theirs that the hostess did not invite. And if that guest orders and they tell me, then I'll give a free prize to both the guest who invited, and their friend. And I give that out once every few months. It's not an every party thing. In fact, the only every party prize I do is the participation prize. Because sometimes with a drawing prize, I only get one guest response, or people don't answer within that 15 minutes. Or occasionally I'll have a party where somebody doesn't order the Safe Haven 5. So the only prize that I actually do every single time, even though I always offer them, the only one that always happens is the participation prize. In the very beginning when I was new, and time or money was the most important thing to me, I would mail out whatever cloth I had on hand for that. Whatever Norwex had given me for free. Now, sanity and time are the most important thing to me, so I just attach something to their party order. And if they ordered online, I suck it up and I pay shipping to send it direct to them. So it really depends on what your priorities are, because again, this business can be for us what we want from it, what we need from it, and it works with our personality, our preferences, all of that. You can customize this, you can tweak this, you can do whatever you want with an ethical Norwex guidelines on this. So if you have questions about prizes, chime in. I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, Danae, you missed all of the good stuff. So we've talked about Facebook Party Flow, we've talked about prizes, a little bit about script. Script, I guess we've pretty much covered. I do have 1 or 2 Facebook Party scripts here in this group in the file section. You can check it out. Don't use it word for word, please, because that kind of penalizes you and me. Again, going back to Facebook algorithms, where Facebook prioritizes original content. And the more they see same phrases, same paragraphs, same hostess coaching lines, same graphics, the more they see that, the more they're like, let's take that visibility down a notch. So use it as a jumping off point, use it to get started, but absolutely please, for your sake and for my sake, tweak it. Don't use it word for word, and don't use it for forever. But you can check out the Facebook framework script stuff, because I think it's really helpful to have an idea of what is possible, what can this look like, and that can sometimes help us solidify things in our own heads. Videos versus posts, we've talked about that. I think a mix of that is great. If you're able to do a Facebook Live during yours, or if you want to do a Facebook Live before your party, just to talk about how it's going to happen. There's a lot of ways you can do this, and the awesome thing is, what you do for parties right now doesn't have to be what you always do for parties. So don't feel like doing something one way means you're locked into it for the rest of your Norwex career, and this is a huge commitment and a huge decision, and oh my goodness. Not true. Try it out. Try it on. See what you think. Tweak it, throw it away, and try something different, and that's okay. Do what's comfortable for you and learn to do it well. I mentioned, best business practices, then balanced with whatever you want to do in this, you can learn how to do it. I do my parties in events, okay? It used to be, a year and a half ago, it was actually against Facebook rules. You were not allowed to do direct sales parties in groups. And if Facebook realized you were, they would shut down your whole account. So it didn't happen often, but it happened often enough, and even to Team Aqua teammates, that, do it in events. And that has changed in the last year and a half. There are more options in groups, and groups can be a phenomenal way to do a party. But the key thing, whether you're doing a party in an event or a group, is you need to understand how that medium works, inside and outside, so you can coach your hostess through the pitfalls. Because you have to assume she doesn't know anything. Okay, one of my mistakes as a new consultant was thinking I was the one who didn't know anything, and surely nobody could know less than I know, because I know nothing. So I went into every party assuming everybody else knew how to have a successful party except for me. Like, everyone in the world knows how to do a party except for me. And I found out very quickly, not quickly enough, I wish I'd known sooner, but very quickly, that you're the expert, like it or not. You're the expert on Norwex. You're the expert on how to have a successful party. So if you don't feel that yet, Learn how to. And you can learn how to do that for groups, you can learn how to do that for events. But if you don't understand whichever one you're using, you will not be able to coach your hostess through the struggle points of that. You will not know how to anticipate what are the problems that are going to come up because of using this format. So know your medium and practice it, and do demo parties and ask friends to check it out. And you know what an awesome tip is? Go to other consultants' parties, whether they're Norwex consultants or consultants for another company entirely. Go check out their parties. You will have a completely different lens on as a Norwex consultant looking at somebody else's party than you ever did when you were a customer at somebody else's party pre-Norwex. And that's a fantastic way to remember, what does this look like on the customer side? What does this look like on the host side? And that can help you be a better consultant because you understand the host experience and you understand the consultant experience and you understand the customer experience. Let me see, Jessica, I heard somewhere they were going away from events, but I have no idea if that was a reliable source. They're not going away from, oops, I just lost the comments. They're not going away from events yet. Facebook is still tweaking things, and there's great resources on both groups and events. Now hosts or admins for both can message people directly from those. When they're adding people, they can include a note if you're adding people to a group. And this is not across the board yet. This is in some groups. And because that's what Facebook does, Facebook rolls out changes incrementally. So they beta test it with a group of 3,000 people or 50,000 events, and they see how it goes. So with some groups and some events right now, when the host goes to invite people, she has the option when she's adding people to that group or adding people to that event to attach a note right away, and it personalizes it. Hey Kathy. So events right now are still completely in, and groups are coming in because they did not used to be an option, and we're not encouraged by Facebook, but Facebook is playing around with it. And so either one is valid, either one is viable. Choose one and learn how to do it well, okay? And if you want support on how to do groups, we have a lot of great leaders in our Virtual Party Pros group who do groups and who have learned how to hostess coach through that, who have learned how to train through that. If you want support on events, I can help you with that a lot better than I can with groups for parties. Again, there's no one way to do this, but there are best business practices. So a couple questions that I've gotten: how do I get guests to interact? How do I get people to see my posts? And how do I hostess coach on parties? So all three of those are really, really good questions. Was that only 3? Yeah, that was only 3. So how do I get guests to interact? That really comes back to that participation prize. It comes back to encouraging your host. She needs to be commenting on every single post, which ties into hostess coaching, okay? You guys will see in the file section, I have a document all about hostess coaching. It's kind of I say it's a 3-in-1 document, but I can't remember what the third part of it is, what I was thinking in my head when I came up with 3-in-1. It's for getting bookings, it's for hostess coaching. And in my head, there's a third thing, but honestly, I can't think of what. Read through it, beginning to end. Read through it, because it's got information on when would you send a message? In what situation is this message good to send? Oh, there's an objection? What do you say? Here's what you can say. Part of our job as consultants is to anticipate concerns before they're ever voiced. And understanding that will enable you to answer your customers' concerns before they ever become a concern, so that they don't have that concern in the first place, because the majority of objections, they come from people not understanding, people not having enough information to make a decision that works well for them. And you know those answers. You know that it does not take a lot to have a successful party on the host's part, because you're doing the work. You know that, okay, I had somebody ask me, they're like, do we have to pay a deposit to you to book a party with you? And I was like, No, 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 no. Yes, it is my job. So if you cancel, you know, that does affect me. But you don't have to pay me to do a party for you. But a lot of people have misconceptions and misunderstandings about how this works. And different companies are going to do it differently. So you give them the information so they can make a decision that works best for them. Read through that document and then feel free to tweak it, to adapt it, to use it. The less you use it word for word as you go on, the better. But do feel free, do feel comfortable to use it and to copy paste from it. But that is crucial to having a good party. You are partnering with your host, and she needs to understand what she needs to do. So one of the things that I do in there is, if her party is going really quietly and she doesn't have anybody on, or maybe she has 1 or 2 people on, the number one thing that hosts think is they're a failure and they've let you down. And oh my goodness, they feel so bad and ashamed, and they're much more likely to ghost you in that case, or not try to work it, or, you know, that it's kind of like this, well, this is going really badly, so I'm just going to assume it's going to end badly and I'm not going to invest anything else in this. And that is the worst thing that can happen, and you want to stop that train wreck before it happens. So just a simple note to them after the parties, you know, there's been a couple posts up and say, hey, you know, it looks like it's going to be a quiet party tonight, but that's okay. The important thing is that you're on just like you are, and that you're commenting on every single post. And you can add in just as you are if they are, or not if they aren't. And say, you know, you can follow up with that, because that engages Facebook's algorithms and will help your friends see it better when they are able to hop on later and check it out. So you're explaining how the algorithms work. You are coming from a place of authority. You are coming from a place of helping them help their friends. And you can even say, you know, I know it might seem a little strange to keep commenting if nobody else is commenting at the same time, but trust me, I know this. It will help your friends see it better. And it will be a lot more interesting to them, because they would rather see what you have to say than what I have to say, honestly. So, Kayla, bookings also comes back to that document. So there's really 3 components to it. Let's hope I don't forget the 3rd thing before I'm done talking about that. First of all, have a fun party. People don't want to do a party if the party they attended was boring. They don't want to do a party if the party they attended was over the top complicated. They don't want to do a party if they were, you know, overwhelmed. They don't want to do a party if they didn't like you, okay? People want to do a party because they're excited about the products. And it doesn't matter if they understood everything about the products, but if their excitement outweighs their overwhelmingness, people want to do a party. If they get the understanding, the vibe that you care about them and you're not just after them for, you know, sales numbers, they're much more likely to do a party for you. And if they realize and understand the benefit of doing a party, they want to do a party for you. So throughout your party, you want to make sure you're being clear. You want to be sure this is moving, you know, this is going along. You want to be sure that you find times to laugh with your customers. You know, make it fun, enjoy yourself, and help them enjoy themselves. Find the ways to interact and connect with them. You know, because your hostess coaching starts when your new hostess has first, you know, her very first glance at your party. Your hostess coaching without her ever realizing it. You're setting the standard for what is her party going to look like when she books with you. What is her role going to look like when she books with you? What are you going to be like in her party when she books with you? So you got to be thinking about that and gear your party towards that. You also want to have information throughout your party about hosting. Why should they host? Is it super complicated? You know, do they have to pay? Is it stressful? I hosted a party for a company a couple years ago, and I was shocked at the threshold I had to reach as a hostess to get anything. I got one half off item after $500 in sales. And I had to pay for the other half of that item and shipping and tax. And I was like, I just got you $500 in sales and I got one measly half off item? What? But Norwex isn't like that. Norwex has phenomenal Hostess rewards. And so talking about them, highlighting them, you want people to see our average hostess walks away with $300 in free Norwex. That's incredible. And I've never seen, there's no company that I have been a guest for, or a hostess for, or a friend of a consultant of, that even comes close to Norwex's hostess rewards. So you wanna sprinkle that information throughout. Now the thing with Facebook parties is, as much as you want to ensure there's a logical flow and everything makes sense and you understand why, you're setting people up for this progression, you also have to understand that a lot of people are going to popcorn in. So what are the key things, just a couple key things that you want to have multiple times through your party, so that if they miss one, they're more likely to see it in another one, okay? And you don't want to say it the exact same way, because you are going to have people who are checking out every bit of information. But talk about hostess, like booking, from a couple different angles. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just touch on it in this post. Touch on it in this post about, the mop. Find ways to bring it in. And what is awesome about Facebook parties, this is why I love Facebook parties over home parties, is you can constantly get better more easily with less stress, less hassle. Because with a home party, at least for some of us, it is super hard to remember everything you want to say, exactly how you want to say it, when you want to say it, in the order you want to say it, to the people you want to say it to. In a Facebook party, I just write that puppy up in my Word document, and it's there for the next party, and the next party, and the next party, and the next party, and I don't have to worry about forgetting it. And oh my goodness, I just had a new idea about how I can explain something, and that's perfect verbiage. I'm going to add that into my script and update my script, and now I have this new update and tweak to go off of for my next parties. And hey, I just heard a really great line from another consultant that I'm going to borrow and use in my script, and now I have it for my next parties, and you never have to worry about forgetting it because it's there. And so you can always you find new ways to share something. You hear new stories that you can tell people. You come up with different ways to explain something that you've explained 1,000 times before, and suddenly it clicks in a new way, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go update my Facebook script. And you don't have to worry about forgetting it in your next 10 parties because it's a new thing. And that is a huge advantage of Facebook scripts. So going back to your bookings question, talk about bookings throughout. Answer people's objections before they ever think about it, before they ever realize they might be thinking about an objection. You want to give them the information they need so they understand how easy it is to host, how fun it is to host, how simple, how beneficial. And hey, by the way, it also benefits the current host, your friend, if you book a party off of hers. So those are that's like the first component. The second component is that booking script that I mentioned, hostess coaching booking. Well, that's really the third. The second is ask everyone. Everyone, okay? Ask everyone. Because if you don't, you are basically saying, you're looking around to the room at somebody and saying, yeah, I don't think you'd be a good host. Oh, yeah, you probably wouldn't be interested because you're way rich and you don't need to host. Oh, you wouldn't want to host because you have too many kids. You're deciding that for them. But the reality is you don't know what is going on for them. And you don't know what their reasons would be for hosting. You don't know if they will be your next rock star consultant if they host for you. So ask everyone. And the booking document goes through how to ask somebody who orders online. Like, here's what I send an email to them. If they order online, here's what I say. It goes through if somebody messages me, because I do 2 ways to order. The first way is you can order online and you pay direct shipping costs, and this is what you want to do if you don't live near your hostess. But if you do live near your hostess, you can message me with your order and I will put it in for you with a party shipping cost. And it's a little more time consuming, but I love that because that is when I most often will get bookings from, because of that, building that relationship. They're messaging me, I'm talking to them, and when they've given me their order and I go to put it in, I'll say, and this is important, I'll say, I'll go put your order in now. So I'm letting them know I am about to step away from our conversation to go over here to put your order in. Okay? While I'm doing that, are you interested in hosting a party? It benefits Michelle, and it's a great way to earn Norwex for free, as most of my hostesses walk away with $200 to $400 in free product. I set up the party and do all the posts. You invite friends and participate. Boom. And how many objections did I answer with that? I let them know it benefits their friend. I let them know how beneficial it is to them. I let them know how simple it is to them. I let them know what I expect from them. Right there, 4 very important things that everybody is weighing when they're thinking about whether or not they're going to do a party. Give them the information they need to make a decision for themselves. And I take the pressure off of them by saying, I'm going to go put your order in and get you your total. While I do that, you think about this and let me know. And so instead of me asking them, and there's this obvious, I expect an immediate response, you're on the spot, it's this soft, I'm going to step away. You've got a minute, you've got 10 minutes, whatever, and I'll come back with your total. So usually when I come back, I have a response, and maybe it's a no, maybe it's a yes. But if you read through the document, I talk about what do you say if somebody has this objection? What do you say if there's this objection? So that, it didn't start out as me thinking through this whole thing. I just realized this is what I'm consistently doing. My same process with every single customer, every single party, every single week. And I finally got tired of typing the same thing out every single time. And I just put it into a Word document and then added in the information in that document about, I send this note to my hostess 10 minutes after her party starts, or the morning after her party, or whatever the case is. So that's really key to my bookings. I hope that answered. It looks like you were in and out, but you'll be able to check it all out in the replay. Let me see if there are other questions here. And if you have questions while I'm scrolling to check on questions, just pop them back up. Kathy, I thought you were popping back. You've been on. So that answered host coaching. I think we've talked about the main. Things. I can't think of anything, which I'm sure there is, but off the top of my head, those are really the basics of Facebook parties. Write out your script. Even if you're going to do a live party, it's so much easier if you can copy and paste specific posts instead of typing them out every single time and hoping you remember everything and hoping you remember to say it in the right way and hoping you can type fast enough. And even if you have specific write-ups about, bathroom products, so that when somebody asks you a question, you can copy paste and put that information in there. Whatever the case is, typing up a script, typing up answers is your friend, because when you're in a Facebook party, momentum is key. And I will say, I go at the pace of my fastest guest-ish, because they're the ones who are going to lose interest and start multitasking over here while they wait for you to post and forget to come back. The people who are slow and steady, the people who are reading through, they're going to read through, and they're going to continue reading through at their own pace. But it's the ones who are the fast readers, who are really on it, that if you are not also on it, you're going to lose them. So reassure your guests, we're going to move quickly tonight. It's awesome if you keep up, but you don't have to. Take it in at your pace, and just know that we're going to have a time drawing prize at the end of the evening that you're not going to want to miss out on. Any questions before we wrap up? It's been an hour, guys. I've been talking for a long time here. I've got those demo Facebook scripts in the files. I've got the hostess coaching in the files. Check out our units, because we've got a unit specifically dedicated to Facebook parties, and there's a lot of different leaders who have chimed in with different styles, different tips, different experiences, and like I said, there isn't one way to do this well. There are best business practices, but there's so much room for flexibility and creativity and personality and preferences and lifestyle and all of that. So check out those other Facebook party trainings. Check out the resources we have in that. And if you have questions, ask in the group. All right, guys, I think we are done for the night. Thanks for hanging out. Those of you who were on the whole time, that was a long time. And those of you who are catching the replay, I'm glad you're checking it out, and I hope it's helpful. Glad to, Jessica. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy your weekend.